All right, guys, welcome to Treadmill Talks. I'm going a little bit faster today because so I'm at 2.8 speed right now and my heart rate's at 120, so I might be breathing a bit more than usual. But today, we're going to talk about how to get a girlfriend, or actually, how to actually get a girl to fall for you, like you, etc. Just in general. And the differences of how we did that back in the day, how we did it back in the day, versus the differences of how it works now, and then kind of the transition in between there. Because I've kind of been through all three phases, right? I was dating before social media, when social media started becoming a thing, and then now to this absolute cluster of an environment that we have now. So, again, back in the day, let's start with the word date. Do you want to go on a date with me? Now, I think that can still work in 2026, but only on a certain demographic of women. Basically the ones that want to settle down, right? We can do a whole separate video on what the term settle down even means, because that's a whole different, I don't like that kind of shit. But do you want to go on a date with me? Now, back in the day, when we asked a girl out on a date, very rarely would they even say no. Like, it was just like, hey, do you want to go on a date? And that was kind of considered the normal meta of dating. You would just ask them out on a date. And you know, even back then we knew that we wouldn't you wouldn't take them out on like a dinner or like anything crazy expensive. It was usually just like, let's go for a walk. And then if you actually vibed with the chick, you would buy her like an ice cream on the beach or something super cool, right? But that was the date. The date wasn't this extravagant $500 dinner nonsense. That was never a thing. So that like, if the idea of date, if to you means more money or more expensive, you gotta wipe that out of your mind. That's not how it works. So back then, you would go on a date. And a date is not the same thing as a one-night stand. Or like, one-night stands were more about something you did at a party and not something that you would do on a date, right? So, second date, third date, you would still not be spending money, by the way. Second date would usually be like, do you want to go to a movie? Well, back then it was like $9 for a movie, right? Want to go to a movie? Popcorn, the whole date costs you $30, not a big deal. Invite her over to your place on the third date. It was always number 3, right? Invite her over to your place on date number 3, and then you make your move then, right? But by then, the whole reason why that worked in the first place is if the girl came out with you 3 times, and she's actually at your house for a third date, it made you feel much more comfortable escalating, like physically, because you kind of knew that she was there on the third date. She was over at your place, right? It removed a lot. It was, I guess you could say it was more procedural in how it worked, and less of a vibey feel. Which is, I think, also the crux of the problem of what happened in the dating market these days. And it's like, when you did the 3-date thing, again, remember, this was before social media. This was before PUA. This was like me in high school type of thing, in college. So the information of the red pill had not existed at this point yet, right? So going out for 3 dates, and then pulling her back to your place on the third date, that was the procedure, right? That was kind of the accepted norm. And then after you actually slept together, then it was, you weren't boyfriend and girlfriend right away, but you would just assume that it was going somewhere because the title of date had been established, right? So that the title of date was established. You eventually slept together. And then as you know, when a woman sleeps with you, she chemically bonds to you and she pair bonds and all that kind of stuff. And then you become an item, right? Now, fast forward to when social media was just starting to become a thing, like the Plenty of Fish days. Tinder was just about to come out kind of thing, right? And then I'm gonna turn down my speed here. The meta slowly started to shift. It hadn't quite yet. You could still kind of use the word date, but now that was slowly starting to become more off-putting to women as it's too serious, bro, or it's supposed to be just a hangout kind of thing, right? But if you asked a girl on a date and she was in her mid-20s or whatever, or like her approaching her 30s, it was fine. It was still kind of like the old school way of doing things. The transition was you would kind of, and this is kind of still true today, you would kind of hang out with the girl first, but you wouldn't ask her to hang out. You would just like meet her somewhere, like a social activity or something. Then you would actually hang out 1, 2, 3 times, not expecting anything, then ask her out on a date. And that worked because it kind of gave, I'm not sure where the commitment issues, I'm not sure why the word date is so frowned upon now, to be honest. I think because, what I think on the opposite side of the spectrum here, the reason why I think women don't like the word date is because men these days, okay, we'll get into that later on. There's a specific reason why. It ties in at the end. Now, you would hang out for 3 times, just in social settings. Then you ask her out on a date. And then by that point, she already knows what your personality is like, what your humor is like, what your characteristics are. She knows enough about you to make an educated guess on whether or not you are a potential partner. And then still by this point, it wasn't the first date, need to sleep with her meta. That came a little bit later, which we'll talk about. So then it kind of, the middle of the pack here kind of pushed back the process by like 3 hangouts. So now instead of 3 dates pull, it was like 3, I've seen this guy around, then 3 dates, then pull. So it went from 3 to 6, right? Now, also by this point, hookup culture had just started kind of rapidly expanding, right? And now you're starting to see a lot less social shaming for women that are hooking up, which I don't have an opinion for or against. I'm just reporting the facts, right? Just is what it is. Now, I started right around here. This was after my 7-year breakup. I actually started getting a lot of one-night stands. And I was like, what the heck? Because this wasn't a reality before when I was kind of in high school and college. It was definitely a reality after. I had a 7-year time skip, right? I was just going out a lot more. And women at the clubs just seemed a lot more sexually free. Like, it's almost like they were predators, I'm not gonna lie. It's almost like they saw a sexy guy and they just like went right after him, right? And it made game very easy in that regard. Game, right? Because they're basically pulling you to their place at that point, right? So anyway, that was kind of the change between cycle 1, cycle 2. Cycle 3, where we are now is, okay, we'll go back to the topic of like, why women don't like the word date and why they don't like the seriousness of it, right? So you know, here's the kind of the oxymoron or the paradox of the entire problem. Now when you use the word date, now when you use the word date, it implies sexual intent, which obviously, or it implies intent in terms of, I like you, therefore I want to date you. Now, there's a lot of reasons why that doesn't work anymore. A, it's just socially unacceptable. Women are much more aware of social norms and what's acceptable. So like, for example, when you're dating a girl and you say, we don't have a label, like we're not boyfriend and girlfriend, when she goes and hangs out with her gal pals and they're like, oh, why aren't you married yet? Where's your boyfriend? That bothers them a lot. The social pressure bothers women to a degree that men can't understand. So when you say the word date, I don't even know how that related there, but like, when you use the word date, she doesn't have enough information about you now to make an informed decision. And the reason why that's a problem, it didn't used to be a problem before in cycle 1, because back then when you asked a girl on a date, there was an implication or an insinuation that there would be at least 3 hangouts before any kind of physical touch would happen. Now, the same is not true today, and the main reason why is because the red pill information is kind of out there now, and men are becoming much more aware. I don't want to use the word manipulate, but they're becoming much more aware of how to actually get women. The pendulum is constantly swinging, right? So the more information men get about how to get women, the more women get information on how to defend against it. And then you have this constant pendulum swing of combativeness. And then it basically separates the genders apart, right? So now when you ask a girl on a date, it's assumed that you're going to be physical or intimate on the first date. Now in 2026. The reason why is because, remember how I was saying earlier in the video, a woman will chemically bond with a man after she sleeps with him. Which men now know that information, which makes it so you have this sense of urgency to sleep with her as fast as possible so that she pair bonds with you. And I'm sure you've experienced this, where I guarantee you've experienced this. Hypothetical scenario. You take a girl out, you hang out normally, you hang out, and you guys actually vibe, you have a good connection, you're laughing, everything's good. You even go on a second date. Still, everything is fantastic, but you haven't slept together yet. The third date never happens. Why? Because there was another dude that slept with her faster. And even if you are the more higher, quote unquote, value, you could be the better guy and the better partner in every single way possible. But that guy slept with her first. He did something, or he gamed her better to get in her pants faster. And when a woman sleeps with a guy, she pair bonds to him. Well, maybe not if they have like 100 body count, but you get the gist of it. Now, here is the biggest problem of what goes on there in that scenario. When a man sleeps with a woman and she pair bonds with him, she doesn't entertain other men. She can't actually. Well, the ones that aren't like BPD anyway, but it's not like love, but like her brain is chemically bonded to that male, right? So now he's in the power position. Now he can say, and I've tested this, by the way, this is why nothing works. He can say, I don't want to be boyfriend and girlfriend, we're just friends. But he knows that she is incapable of dating other men at the same time. So basically, so she's kind of heartbroken in this scenario, but she still keeps sleeping with him because she's still pair bonded. And this can last years. Now, the reason why this is a problem for the dating scenario is that when she figures out that that guy is not going anywhere in terms of her goals, but she's also pair bonded, she tries to go on quote unquote dates or hangouts with other men, but she just can't get into it because she's pair bonded to the other guy. So this is where the whole meta of don't pay for women's dates, and some of them are predatory, a lot of them aren't though. A lot of them truly are trying to meet another guy, but they're trying to fight their own biology, and you can't win that battle, right? So that's why it's critical to find a girl that doesn't have a bull in the background, right? So she will literally sleep with that guy, go on a date with, and it's not that like you're a beta, it's that she's genuinely trying. She goes on all these dates, can't figure out why she doesn't have a connection with any of these men, but it's because she's pair bonded with the guy that she slept with. So then you have this scenario and this entire clusterfuck of like, this woman just used me for all these dinners, and you're taking her on 5-6 dates while she's plowing the guy from a year ago. She's still bonded to that guy. She's not aware of all this. But anyway, that's dating now. And so, the guy that slept with her, who's in the power position, what he's in the position to do now is sleep with as many women as humanly possible. Like keep dating, keep sleeping with women, and keep getting them all pair bonded to him, which fixes the hypergamy problem. All women want him. All women are pair bonded to him. The guys that are going on dates with these girls, they're never gonna get anywhere. They don't know. So, back to the difference between then and now. So when you go on a hangout or a date with a girl now in 2026, you don't really know if she's already pair bonded to another man or not. So you don't know if she is out on a hangout or a date with you and she's gonna go fuck her ex or a Chad or somebody an hour later. You don't know if she's pair bonded. So because you don't know if she's pair bonded, and the only way to get her unpair bonded from the other guy is to establish a pair bond with you. So, no matter how you approach this problem, you as a man, you have to sleep with them as fast as possible. Either A, to get the pair bond with you initially, or to break a pair bond with another guy. That's the only way. And it's strange because like going on like 10 dates or 10 hangouts or spending hours with these women means absolutely nothing until you sleep with them and get them pair bonded. It's wild. It's wild how this works. I'm not even shitting you. So, the opposite end of the spectrum, the reason why this is a problem, now that this information is out there and kind of all guys kind of know this now, you gotta sleep with the chick on the first date or she doesn't like you. Well, that's what that is basically, right? So what the problem is, now that every guy knows that, every guy that girl goes out with is trying to sleep with her on the first date. So all she gets is all this dick flown at her constantly, and it starts, she starts hating men because of it. They start resenting men, and they start believing that men only want sex. And it's not that men only just want to get their dicks wet, it's that they're trying to pair bond with the chick to get her away from all the other guys, right? So you have this giant, like, circular downward spiral of every guy knowing they have to sleep with the girl as fast as possible to actually get the girlfriend. And then if they don't, she's just gonna go pair bond with another guy that's faster than them, right? So it's more like a competition of who can sleep with this girl the fastest. Now, that's kind of the difference between then and now. Back then, there wasn't really a sense of urgency on the man's part to sleep with a girl, which coincidentally made them more attractive because they didn't seem needy or pressuring. They didn't seem... It was more chill. It's like, let's go on 3 dates, get to know each other. Now it's like, I want to take you out on a date. It's like, I need to fuck you as fast as possible, right? That's the biggest problem. And that's why dating seems kind of messed up right now. So what do you do about it? There's kind of like 3 different approaches that you can approach this problem from. A pure numbers game. That's always going to be the answer to every problem. You just try to go out and meet as many women as possible and try to sleep with as many of them as possible as fast as possible. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I would say as long as you're not an idiot about it and you're not like predatory, if you're using it as a learning experience on how to read women's body language and stuff, when they're afraid of you, when they are into you. A lot of guys don't know that stuff. Approaching is the best way to get a handle on that, right? Second way to deal with the problem, I would say, is kind of not worrying about it. As weird as that sounds, it's like instead of actually going out of your way to hang out with women, what you kind of want to do is just hang around women and just get them to get to know you over time. And eventually, the girl will be single, or the guy will do something so horrendous. She'll snap, the branch will snap eventually. And kind of, you know how they say women monkey branch? If you're just, you don't want to be a beta male orbiter. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you just want to be friends with these chicks. Like, genuinely. Like, you don't, no moves, nothing. You just kind of chill with them, hang out with them. You do your own. If they have a boyfriend, you just like, then when it actually snaps and they are looking to jump on another dick, that's your opportunity. Because she already has enough information about you to accept a hangout. And then when she actually is on a break with her man, or they go through a fight or something, she's so resentful of that man that there's like a small window of opportunity where you can kind of get in there and break their pair bond, right? By sleeping with her. And then she pair bonds with you. Now, the counter argument is, this is actually, I don't have a solution for this, because it's the whole, like, do you really want a woman that just monkey branches from guy to guy? Because then you kind of know if you ever get in a fight with her and she like leaves the house for 8 hours, she might monkey branch to another guy and ruin your entire investment. I don't have an answer for that. Every woman I've met has been like that. Very, very rare will you meet a woman that doesn't monkey branch. It's almost like it's almost hard-coded in their DNA. Like, you know how they say, I don't have an answer, to be honest. Like, women always know who the next guy is before they do. And that's 100% true. So that's kind of why I just try to be the highest value I possibly can at all times. The third way you can get around this, and this is not my favorite, but this is kind of the one where it seems to be the most legitimate. It's hard to manufacture this scenario. Yeah, it's more of a luck kind of thing, where you're on a camping trip, or a music festival, or a show, a multi-day show. You're basically the scenario you're trying to manufacture is you and the girl are away from her man for a set period of time, like 2 or 3 straight days. And you hang out with the girl for 2 or 3 straight days. Even better if she's fighting with her man when she's on that trip, right? That it's easy. The reason why is back to the kind of like the hypergamy thing. You're making her feel seen and heard for those 2 or 3 days, which gives you the opportunity to sleep with her, which gives you the opportunity to pair bond with her and break the other connection, right? It's kind of how that works. But like, you can't do that if it's like in your city and she goes back to him the same night. She has to be like geographically removed from that pair bond for a set number of days to give you a chance or a shot. So that's why if you're, reverse note, if your girl ever goes to Mexico for like 4 or 5 days for a bachelorette party, that's a big problem. If she goes to a music festival for ask me how I know. If she goes to a music festival for 4 or 5 days without you, big problem. And it's not that like you can't trust them. It's just that against a guy that knows what he's doing and the whole pair bond dynamic, yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough. But those are the 3 ways that you can get around that pair bond problem. You cannot take a girl out on dates in 2026 and expect her to pair bond with you without sex. You also can't expect sex on the first date. You can also never expect sex because you paid for anything. You can never expect sex whatsoever. That's not your right. So all you can do is play the game. That's all you can do. Now, the last thing I'll close this video off on. When you get that first one, when you actually get a girl to pair bond with you, chill the fuck out. Chill out. Do not get one-itis, okay? Don't just become her boyfriend right away. Try to use the power dynamic and try to get at least 1 or 2 girls pair bonded with you before you enter that relationship. We'll talk about this in another video. The reason why you want to do that is so that you never get the scarcity mindset of, if this girl breaks up with me, I have to start all over again. If you have 2 or 3 other pair bonds in the tank, you can actually become that girl's boyfriend, knowing that you can jump to these other girls if shit goes south, which it makes you act differently in that relationship. We'll talk about that in another video. Anyway, guys, that's it for this one. Hit that subscribe button if you found the information useful, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Talk to you later.